Hello, and welcome to our channel, Vedic Solutions, and I am your host, Harinama Chintamani, preparing for the coming of the Golden Age. We are continuing in a series of videos that were taken from what we're calling Truth Posts. It's a series of offerings that Srimati Kamradevi, also known as Karen Eve Silberstein, wrote over a period of a couple of years on a social media platform. They are available in writing on our website, purelyprabhupada.org, under articles. We've arranged them by theme. The first one was Trust the Man, the Plan, or God. The second, What is Coming is Beyond Biblical. And this is the third. There's a quotation from a realized person within our lineage that says, essential truth, spoken concisely, is true eloquence. You will find that here. We are never condemned to rot in hell forever. This idea is fallacy. It may feel like eternity because the suffering is so great and the concept of time is relative according to our placement. But the Lord does not write us off. He is kind. He is merciful. And He loves us in spite of our shortcomings and failures. This material world is like a reform school. We are here because we opted to try to enjoy separately from God. But like a good father who offers some punishment with our best interests in mind, the Lord wants us to turn back to Him and offers correction according to the mindset and the deed. Correction, not damnation. Sin is that action which impedes the spiritual progress of both the doer and those he affects by his activities. We have to learn which activities are favorable to spiritual progress and which ones are not. This knowledge is available. Pray to the Lord to be guided to it, and He will reveal, according to His desire and your actual willingness to hear, those who can properly guide you. But know, if you insist on eating flesh foods, you may be denied hearing. Stop eating your brothers and sisters. You are impeding their spiritual progress. There are two kinds of activities. One type produces immediate gratification, like a child wanting to simply play, or an adult seeking some pleasure in the moment. The other type of activity leads to longer-term gratification and benefit, such as going to school and studying something meaningful. The ultimate long-term beneficial activity is that which promotes the development of love of God. The honest pursuit of spiritual life is fulfilling, both in the moment and over the long term. Material pleasure is temporary, and the pursuit of it an ongoing, exhausting, frustrating, insatiable endeavor. Our nature is to seek everlasting pleasure, but everlasting pleasure does not exist in this world. Therefore, it is a fruitless effort. There is a spiritual process by which we can reinstate ourselves in the supreme abode, resplendent with never-ending spiritual joy in the association of the Lord Himself, and even experience that joy while still embodied on this plane. Are you ready to hear of it? If we are blind, it does not mean that a whole world of visual intrigue does not exist, but we are incapable of seeing it. We are all spiritually blind, but that does not mean that a glorious world of transcendence does not exist. The eyes can be induced to see when there is the torchlight of knowledge. Are you ready? Are you willing? Always remember the Lord. Never forget the Lord. He is our best friend. He owns and controls everything, and He's the enjoyer of our activities. Learn to love the Lord with all thy heart, soul, and might. These are the basics of real religious life and can ideally be practiced at every moment. Can we learn to love someone about whom we have very little information? Has learning to love the Lord become simply an act of speculative imagination with no discipline, practical application, or joy? Have we become hardened in the heart by dogma? Learning to love the Lord is a science and a practice. It is natural, it is kind, and the process is easy to apply. Advanced information is available. Do you want it, or do you fear it? The word God denotes a position. The names of God are the personal addressing of the one Lord who holds that position. God is a person. He has many names according to his sublime activities and his interactions with his associates. It is akin to Mr. President versus Mr. Trump. President is the position, Mr. Trump is the person. Except that the Lord is present as his name, whereas Mr. Trump is not. Let us call out the name in utter submission, however our culture has taught us. Allah, Jehovah, Rama, Krishna, or call in the names of the Lord's representatives, like Jesus Christ. Call out as you know him. The holy names are our only shelter. We are surrounded by fallible persons, no matter how powerful or well known. The Lord is infallible. His plan is perfect. Why am I suffering? Where do I go at the time of death? What is the purpose of life? How did I get this body? These are meaningful inquiries. The purpose of human life is to seek answers to these questions. An animal cannot contemplate at this level. Don't live like an animal. Seek spiritual guidance. A brilliant spiritual preceptor of modern times stated, "Religion without philosophy is sentiment," or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Yes. I am not the embodiment of truth, John 16:13, but I know who is. I am his servant. Everything that we do in this world, beauty, splendid architecture, music, fine food, expressive clothing, all the arts, even graffiti and other street art, it all has its pure origins in the spiritual kingdom of God. We are hankering for these things because it is our nature to embrace them. And in this world, we only get the empty shell, no real satisfaction of heart. But if we practice these arts in this world and utilize them for the glorification and the pleasure of God, these very acts will guarantee our return to that self-effulgent eternal kingdom. A foolish person who is only interested in immediate gratification and who exhibits no self-control is not qualified to teach others how to achieve long-term benefit, either materially or spiritually. Observe, discern, and make your choice. We say, my arm, my nose, my toe, my foot, my body. Who is this I who is saying that these things are mine. By pure logic, even without realization, we can know that we are not the body. Why give so much credence to what we are not? We need to learn who we really are. The knowledge that we are not the body is the fundamental basis of real spiritual development. And the false belief that we are the body is the root of all racism. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. The blacks become the whites become the blacks, the slave owners become the slaves become the slave owners. The abuser becomes the victim becomes the abuser. The persecutor becomes the persecuted becomes the persecutor. The male becomes the female becomes the male. The one who kills the child in the womb becomes the aborted baby. The cow killer becomes the slaughtered. The fisherman becomes the fish. Step out of the ongoing game. It is possible to become extricated from this frightening syndrome of repeated births and deaths through real knowledge. Our nature is to serve. We serve our dogs and cats. We serve our children, wives, husbands, and employers. We are all serving. It is an innate trait, hardwired in. We are striving to serve higher and higher masters, but we will never be satisfied until we enter the service of the Lord. However, we must take proper authority on that path. Service to God cannot be something of our mind's imaginings. Even Charles Manson alleged that the Lord told him to do what he did. We may say he was a crazy person, but we are all a little crazy in this world. Proper guidance must therefore be taken. The Lord's mercy on us is that he sends his pure representative to this earthly realm to give absolute knowledge for our eternal benefit, if we can only hear it. We may have many children, so why do we limit God to one? The sun, as we recognize him, or not recognize him, will again shine and give all credit to the sons who came before him. And this time, the disciples and followers will carry forth the bright torch of divine wisdom for many thousands of years, generation after generation of self-effulgent sons and daughters. Thank you very much for taking your time to listen. Please visit our website, purelyprabhupada.com, where these books of knowledge are available. If you have any questions, please feel free to write us. Hare Krishna.